Isn't this hurricane stuff a good metaphor for Republicans, and in particular Trump Pence? You know, a hurricane raging and destroying everything. And Trumpy boy, of course, the continual liar, never heard of a Hurricane 5. And yet 3 of them, big ones, 2017, there he was, involved with 3 of them right there. Harvey, that flooded Houston. Irma, that swept in, or was the first one to hit Puerto Rico, but also racked Florida. And then Maria, that came in, and just like the one right now in 2019, Dorian, just crushed Puerto Rico. Now, as of this recording, here in 2019, Dorian is still just right now going up the coast in the Carolinas areas, wreaking havoc. And there's the Bahamas, blasted, torn apart, ravaged. And people are already going, and in the news media are going, oh, the help, we're going to get them help. Well, wait a minute, folks. Let's look at Puerto Rico. 2 years ago, 2017. And this complete the words is failure, right? The racist, the idiot, the slime that is Trump. And his ineptness in dealing with the immensity of the disaster that had come to Puerto Rico American citizens. Well, do you know that on the Twitter, the lunacy of acts of Twitter, that right now, there's people, Trumpites, Trump pansies, a friend of mine calls them, who are trying to say that Katrina, now you got to go back a little bit to Hurricane Katrina. Hurricane Katrina was the fault of Obama. That's right. You go, wait a minute, what? That's lunacy. Well, yes, because that's what anybody who supports Trump has to be, is a lunatic, right? They're trying to say that, well, just look at Obama with the Katrina. He didn't do anything during... Folks, see how important history is? Katrina was the disaster of Bush-Cheney. Do you remember? Bush appointed this guy Brown, as the head of FEMA, the emergency, team. And Brown had no experience in emergency care and systems and departments like this scale. None. All he had been was a big Republican supporter and a college buddy of some Republican. In particular, I think it was Bush. And he was completely inept in it. Republicans again. And you, the American taxpayer, were paying for Brown's salary and his ineptness. Well, look what's happening right now in the hurricane disaster of Trumpville Republicans. American farmers are tanking, collapsing, going bankrupt. So Trumpy boy is turning around and giving the farmers your taxpayer money to pay for Trump's economic fiasco and fraud and failure. Because the farmers are collapsing because Trumpy boy put this big tariff thing with China, which was a complete stupidity, failure, right from the get-go, not going to work, right? Republicans always squander and screw up, intentionally though, the American economy. Because it gets money to the rich, no matter what. No matter what. So Trump put those stupid tariffs out there, this tariff fiasco. China responded, cut the contracts with American farmers because of all this. Oops. American farmers who were so stupid, mostly, to vote for Trump. If you look at who the American farmers throughout America voted for, you'll find that most of them were so dumbass that they've still voted for Trump. And reaping again the Republican reality of economic failure for you. And look what has to happen. The farmers are going belly up. And so to cover his ass for this economic disaster he created, he's giving your taxpayer money to cover up Trump's failure. It's like the metaphor of a hurricane. A disaster. Complete disaster of everything. Now, climate change. Who is denying climate change? Republicans. Because Republicans are the corporations who are poisoning and polluting your whole environment. And they don't want to change that business that's making them billions of dollars. Even though it's destroying the whole planet. Now the UN, a special group who went in, has been studying this climate change, taking real science, studying, analyzing, is now saying, well, you really maybe only got 16 years to really do something about climate change. Or you're at the tipping point where anything you do is going to be too late. Put it that way. It's over the top. And here's Trumpy boy. He says, just raise the level of methane that you can pump into your air, into the atmosphere. Poison you. Trumpy boy just wants to open up this beautiful Alaskan rainforest area for poison and pollution and exploitation. Destroying the world. See? Everywhere it's a hurricane. Republicans are like a disaster of everything against you. You see it in the area of civil rights, with Republicans intransigently blocking efforts to end prohibition. Everywhere, intelligent people are saying, look, get rid of the stupidity, the complete failure, the lies and deceit of prohibition that has been a disaster here in culture, in America and really global, and get rid of, at least and first right off the bat, you've got to get out there and legalize cannabis marijuana. Who's against it? Republicans who want to keep the money going to the prisons, to repression, to justify police-state terrorism, to justify giving more profits to criminal enterprises year after year. Look at the area of civil rights, human rights. Who's against equal rights for women, for homosexuals? Republicans. Just look how they vote. Look what they say even. They're want to justify repression of women to keep them from equal rights, making their own health care decisions. Republicans blocked a legislation that would have given women the same pay as men in any job. Republicans blocked that. Stopped it. Republicans are saying, homosexuals, no equal rights, no marriage, and all the other crap, This is Republicans who are blocking this stuff. The hurricane of disaster is Republican, crushing you. No police reform, when we desperately need to overhaul the police so that they stop killing you. We've seen a string of these videos come out of the police shooting down, in particular, African American citizens. The African American community has been saying for years they've been targeted and brutalized by the police. Well, now with video and Facebook, bango, they can show it. But there's been no substantive legislative change, an oversight, a review of the police. Republicans block it. Stop it. Racism. Republicans endorse racism because they get the vote of racists. Where's all the Ku Klux Klan, right-wing, racist idiots, the white supremacists, neo-Nazi type nutcases? They're all in the Republican Party. That's all the Republican Party. The hurricane of disaster that is the Republican Party. Christian wackos, the Christian extremists who are saying, oh, no equal rights to homosexuals, no equal rights to women, no education that endorses science. Science, folks. Science. People who actually go out and look at things, study things, analyze things, repeat, study, analyze. No. Christian wackos don't want any of that. They want you to just look at a book of myths written by people from 2,000 years ago. Ignorant people who didn't know anything. Republican hurricane of disaster. Gun reform. Look at the one with the gross stupidity of the Second Amendment. Now, if you're outside of the U.S. and you hear this, you say, what was that? Well, America had this ridiculous, insane amendment added to its Bill of Rights, Second Amendment, which has given open access, it has been interpreted anyway, as giving open access to every American citizen to buy guns. Any kind of gun, machine guns, handguns, armor-piercing bullets, what do they call it, assault rifles, type of crap. Well, guess what happens? You get people using that ridiculous stuff. And America, year after year, has had over 10,000 American citizens killed by handguns, and over 200,000 injured, wounded, because of guns. And now recently, again, as you know, in the news, here's the hurricane of disaster of people having mass shootings. And they always try and say, it's just mental health, deflection. Republicans trying to deflection. The National Rifle Association, the NRA, trying to say, no, it's just no more controls on the access to guns. It's just a mental health issue. That's insane, folks. The Second Amendment is a threat to public safety. And the necessity to do, here with this spate of shootings in El Paso and elsewhere of killings, and the politicians will do nothing because they're so scared of the NRA money. They get millions of dollars in NRA campaign funds, which is essentially bribery, just bribe money to keep this ridiculous Second Amendment going. And they're afraid of, the political thing of the public, so, will vote against them if they do anything to control guns. When actually it's getting to be 70-80% of the public is saying, control the guns. And here, the only sanity is to destroy, repeal, throw out that Second Amendment. Get rid of all access to guns. No guns, no gun murders. Australia did it. And it has been beneficial to Australia. Surprise, surprise. Sanity, folks. Well, who's against getting rid of the Second Amendment? Who's the big one? Republicans. Republicans. The hurricane of disaster that keeps the killings going. Republicans. Republicans. The only thing to do is to get rid of the guns. They're trying to say, oh, more background checks, more this, more that. Nope, no. Everywhere you get, all you're faced with is the access to guns. Some psycho was already mentally disturbed, goes to work, gets fired to work from being a psycho, gets so pissed off he kills people, has guns. He starts killing people, driving around, shooting, killing. It wasn't that he was mentally ill and that, oh geez, no. No. The first is he had access to these ridiculous, high-powered guns that is the 21st century available. Got to get rid of them. You got to get rid of the Second Amendment. And here, you're hearing it right here, me, Daddy Mac, the only presidential candidate who has the intelligence, the clarity to tell it like it really is of what has to be done. You got to get rid of the Second Amendment altogether. No guns, no gun murders. No guns for gangs. No guns for mass shooting wackos. No guns in domestic disputes. But as the desperate ground of the Republican Party, who has been, they count these gun nuts as part of their voting bloc because they're in the Christian wackos, they're in the racists. They want their guns. Oh boy, they want their guns, Violence and murder is the whole attribute of the Nazis, the Ku Klux Klan, the white supremacists, so they want their guns. Oh boy. The Republican hurricane of disaster. In the environment, civil rights, police, the lunacy of a Republican generated. It had gone on before Nixon, but really came in with Nixon. The lunacy of the war on drugs fiasco, which has been a complete failure again. All of these come from Republicans. And on top of it, the economic disaster, that every time you get Republicans in there, they destroy the economy for you. And they give big tax breaks to corporations and the rich. That's about it. Look at your history. It's there in your history. Reagan, Bush, Cheney, and now Trumpy boy destroying the economy. Same pattern, same hurricane, same disaster. Republican.